Welcome back to Gabriel Speaks. Once again, I apologize for having the sunglasses on. I'm not trying to be mysterious. I had some eye surgery, so bear with me. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, or this afternoon, as Father has mentioned several times, wherever you're watching this, we're going to talk a little bit about depression. And that's almost an oxymoron. How can you talk a little bit about depression? Anyway, it's a huge subject, and I'm wondering how much of it is a spiritual malady, definitely a spiritual malady, and if so, what do we do about it? Psychiatry is booming. According to my son-in-law, who is a psychiatrist, there'll never be a time when he cannot be employed. His practice is huge, and besides the psychiatrists, there are the counselors and therapists and medication. And it's hard to know how much of this is spiritual, how much of it is due to not necessarily a lack of faith, but turning to one's faith for help. Because depression is awful. I've suffered from depression at various times in my life. And there's a feeling of hopelessness, and I always say to myself, I remember that the one unforgivable sin is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. And I don't want to think that I'm ruling out the intervention of the Holy Spirit in my spiritual life. But at the same time, I used the psychiatrists, the talk therapy, and the medication. As I grow and mature, I tend to think of it more as a spiritual malady. And in hindsight, and looking back, I know that the answers were there for me, but I was looking everywhere except to God, except to Jesus for the answers. I was looking for analysis and behavioral therapy and whatever kind of benzodiazepine for anxiety and
whatever prophylactic means used to lessen the anxiety. You know, there's two sides to depression, and that is to the one who has depression and the one living with the person who has depression. Because the one living with a person with depression, I think, feels just as helpless, because sometimes the partner doesn't know what to do.
And you want to do anything you can to make the other person happy, to bring them out. You want to do whatever you can, but it's not up to you.
Let's go to a hot foot Sunday, and it'll all go away.
Actually, that's a good suggestion.
You just don't know the means, and I've talked to so many other people, the means that people try to help their partner, whether the husband has lost his job and sinks into a deep depression because he feels his self-worth gone, or the wife who, and there's also chemical imbalance. A lot of people don't understand that there's a certain element of chemical imbalance when it comes to depression, which is why I always not only would encourage people in their spiritual life, but to see a doctor, to go see a doctor and determine through the right means, the blood tests and so forth, if one's depression or mood swings are based on a chemical imbalance. And also, to get back to our other issue, a couple months ago, when people have been taking drugs for a long time, can have a profound effect on the psychological well-being of whoever has been bathing in drugs, and their perceptions become so radically different if they were not on drugs, they had not been on drugs.
You mean psychiatric drugs or other drugs?
Both. Psychiatric, they listed the other day on television the number of effects listed from psychiatric drugs, let alone from opioids. What do you think? Your son became quiet.
No, well, I was listening to what you had to say, and it's true. I had an opioid addiction. I think we've talked about this before, and you're never supposed to say you're over it. But I haven't had to use opioids for pain for several months now, and I don't want to say I don't miss it, but I do have a clearer head. I sleep better. I sleep much better, and I'm less foggy. The painkillers were good in that they did get rid of the pain, and I'm still dealing with getting rid of the pain. I filled the void with CBD oil and CBD patches and ibuprofen and Tylenol and whatever. But the whole idea of it's being a chemical thing has to be explored. And I think I mentioned before that the Jesus prayer did help me, which brings in that spiritual element again. The Jesus prayer did help me. But so did my medications and my talk therapy.
How much can your spouse help with depression?
They can just help by being there. The spouse, I think, it's almost worse for the spouse because you want to do anything you can to make your partner happy. You want to do anything you can to get that old feeling that renewed self. And I think they can only be there and understand, which is so hard because it's got to be such a helpless thing. I know in the few times when my husband has felt down, I just want to do anything I can to make him talk or to make him to try and get him to look upward. But you can't, it's got to come from within.
Also, I think the pressures of our society contribute a great deal to creating expectations that people cannot possibly meet or measure up to, and lead to kind of frustration and depression, because we are inundated by the media as to what we ought to have,
What we ought to look like.
what we ought to look like. I mean, and then if you listen to the news, you're really going to get depressed. So but our societal influences greatly impact on our psychological well-being. And I always tell people, if you really want to see and understand better, and I know this is a big demand, everyone should read The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky, who was a first literary depth psychologist. His works are unbelievable and gives one a great insight to the human condition. I know we didn't answer everything here, not meant to answer.
Just talk about it.
We want to talk about it and raise the issue in hope that the listening audience will make sure that they do get help if they feel they need it. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till you destroy your marriage relationship or the relationship with your family and friends. If you feel yourself sinking, there is a rope to pull you out. And God is always there. He never abandons us.
That's something that has to be remembered. And that's something during times of depression I would forget. And every time I remembered it would come back. I would get a lift. Get a little bit of a lift.
God bless and thank you.